In the darkest days of World War II, when Europe burned beneath endless waves of bombers and fighters, one aircraft emerged that seemed to break every rule of aerial warfare. It was fast, deadly, elegant, and unbelievably versatile. Built largely from wood instead of metal, many experts believed it would fail before it even reached the battlefield. But instead, it became one of the most feared and respected aircraft of the entire war. This was the legendary British aircraft known as the de Havilland Mosquito. Nicknamed the Wooden Wonder, the Mosquito became a symbol of innovation, speed, and precision. It could outrun enemy fighters, destroy strategic targets, conduct espionage missions deep behind enemy lines, and even guide massive bomber formations through the darkness of night. At first glance, the Mosquito looked sleek and almost graceful, unlike the bulky bombers of its era. Its twin-engine design gave it tremendous power, while its lightweight wooden structure allowed it to fly faster than many frontline fighters. The aircraft was primarily built from layers of plywood and balsa wood, materials more commonly associated with furniture than war machines. But Britain faced a critical problem during the war. Metal was desperately needed for ships, tanks, and heavy bombers. Geoffrey de Havilland, the brilliant aircraft designer behind the project, proposed a radical idea: build a combat aircraft mostly from wood. Military officials were skeptical. Some believed a wooden aircraft would be too fragile for combat. Others doubted it could survive enemy fire or harsh weather conditions. Yet de Havilland remained confident. He believed that a lighter aircraft with powerful engines could achieve extraordinary speed and maneuverability. The gamble would change aviation history forever. The Mosquito first flew in November 1940. Almost immediately, test pilots realized they were flying something extraordinary. Powered by two Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, the same engines used in the famous Spitfire, the aircraft reached speeds that shocked military observers. Soon, production began across Britain and even in Canada and Australia. Because it used wood, furniture factories and carpentry workshops could help build parts for the aircraft, expanding production far beyond traditional aircraft factories. As the war intensified, the Mosquito rapidly evolved into one of the most versatile aircraft ever created. One of its earliest roles was as a fast bomber. Unlike heavy bombers carrying enormous defensive gun turrets, the Mosquito relied on pure speed for survival. The idea was simple. If enemy fighters could not catch it, defensive guns were unnecessary. And the strategy worked brilliantly. Flying at extremely high speeds and low altitudes, Mosquito bombers carried precision strikes against factories, railways, military headquarters, and enemy infrastructure. German radar operators often struggled to track them, while Luftwaffe fighters found it difficult to intercept the fast-moving aircraft. One of the Mosquito's most famous missions occurred in 1943 during Operation Jericho. In this daring raid, Mosquito bombers attacked Amiens prison in occupied France. Resistance fighters were being held there, many facing execution by German authorities. The Mosquito crews flew at incredibly low altitude through freezing weather. With remarkable precision, they bombed the prison walls and guard buildings, allowing many prisoners to escape. The mission became legendary for its courage and accuracy. The aircraft also became a terrifying night fighter. During the war, German bombers frequently attacked British cities under the cover of darkness. To counter this threat, the Royal Air Force needed fast aircraft equipped with radar capable of hunting enemy bombers at night. The Mosquito proved perfect for the role. Fitted with advanced airborne radar systems and heavy cannons, Mosquito night fighters stalked enemy aircraft through dark skies. Pilots often described the eerie experience of silently approaching German bombers in complete darkness before suddenly opening fire at close range. Its speed allowed it to chase down enemy bombers effectively, while its maneuverability gave it an advantage over many opponents. The Mosquito night fighters became so successful that German bomber crews feared them deeply. Some Luftwaffe pilots referred to them as invisible hunters. But the Mosquito's missions extended far beyond bombing and interception. It became one of the war's greatest reconnaissance aircraft. Reconnaissance missions were among the most dangerous operations of World War II. Pilots flew alone or in small groups deep into enemy territory, photographing military bases, factories, troop movements, and secret weapons installations. The Mosquito's incredible speed made it ideal for these missions. Often flying unarmed, reconnaissance Mosquitoes relied entirely on speed and altitude to survive. Enemy fighters struggled to catch them, while anti-aircraft guns had only seconds to react. These reconnaissance missions provided Allied commanders with priceless intelligence. Mosquito crews photographed German V-1 flying bomb sites, submarine pens, missile facilities, and preparations for enemy offensives. Some historians argue that the intelligence gathered by Mosquito reconnaissance units significantly shortened the war. The aircraft's versatility seemed endless. It served as a pathfinder aircraft, guiding massive bomber formations toward targets during nighttime raids. Equipped with special navigation systems and target-marking flares, Mosquito crews flew ahead of heavy bombers and marked targets with extraordinary precision. Without these pathfinders, many bombing missions would have been far less effective. The Mosquito also served with coastal command, hunting German submarines and attacking enemy shipping. Armed with rockets and bombs, it became a deadly anti-shipping aircraft capable of devastating attacks against enemy vessels. In some operations, Mosquitoes even attacked Gestapo headquarters and intelligence offices in occupied Europe. These raids aimed to destroy sensitive documents and disrupt Nazi operations. One famous attack targeted the Gestapo headquarters in Copenhagen in 1945. Mosquito crews flew dangerously low through the city before striking the building with incredible accuracy. The raid destroyed Nazi records and helped resistance operations continue. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the Mosquito was its survival rate. Despite flying some of the war's most dangerous missions, Mosquitoes suffered lower losses than many other bomber aircraft. Their speed and agility often protected them better than heavy armor or defensive guns. German fighter pilots respected the aircraft tremendously. Many admitted that catching a Mosquito was extremely difficult. Even advanced German fighters like the Focke-Wulf FW-190 and Messerschmitt Bf-109 struggled against it. As the war progressed, newer Mosquito variants became even more powerful. Some models exceeded 400 miles per hour, making them among the fastest operational aircraft of the war. Pilots loved the aircraft for its responsiveness and performance. Many described it as smooth, powerful, and surprisingly easy to fly despite its advanced capabilities. The cockpit layout also gave crews excellent visibility, which proved critical during low-level attacks and reconnaissance missions. But life inside a Mosquito could still be terrifying. Low-altitude missions exposed crews to anti-aircraft fire, power lines, trees, and enemy fighters. At high speeds, even a small mistake could prove fatal. Weather conditions over Europe were often brutal, with fog, storms, and freezing temperatures adding constant danger. Yet Mosquito crews continued flying some of the most daring missions of the war. By the end of World War II, more than 7,000 Mosquitoes had been built in numerous variants. It served not only with Britain's Royal Air Force, but also with Allied nations around the world. The aircraft's impact on aerial warfare was enormous. It proved that speed and precision could sometimes be more effective than heavy armor and massive firepower. It demonstrated the importance of multi-role aircraft capable of adapting to many different missions. And perhaps most importantly, it showed how innovation and unconventional thinking could overcome overwhelming challenges. After the war, the Mosquito continued serving in several air forces during the late 1940s and early 1950s. However, the arrival of jet aircraft gradually ended the era of piston-engine combat planes. Even so, the Mosquito's legacy endured. Aviation historians today still consider it one of the greatest aircraft ever built. Its combination of speed, versatility, efficiency, and elegance remains legendary. Many surviving pilots spoke emotionally about the aircraft decades later. Some called it the finest plane they had ever flown. Others believed it represented the peak of piston-engine aviation design. The Mosquito was not the largest bomber of the war. It was not the heaviest armed. It was not the most heavily armored. But it was something far more dangerous. It was intelligent engineering turned into a weapon. It was an aircraft that could adapt to almost any mission and perform it with deadly efficiency. And in a war where survival often depended on innovation, the de Havilland Mosquito became one of Britain's greatest triumphs. The wooden wonder had proven the skeptics wrong. Built from wood, powered by brilliance, and remembered as one of the most extraordinary aircraft in military history, the de Havilland Mosquito earned its place among the legends of World War II.